Okay, so last class we discussed about the box variable box as one particular object, and we also discussed about the class in an object. So today we'll be looking into the returning of a values. Here, whenever we speak about the returning of a value, we must be able to understand cost by value and cost by reference. There are also something called as a call by value and call by reference. So two major things when you are returning any of the value. So whenever you return a value, from where to where is the information flowing? That is important. Cases may be in such a way that calling function to caller function, or it is returning from the caller function to calling function. So whenever you are sending information from calling function to a caller function, it is something called as call by value or call by reference. Whenever you are getting the value back from the caller function to the calling function, so it is called as a returning a value. Okay, so information may flow. So let's assume this is a calling, this is a calling function, and I have a caller function here. Let's call this as a caller. So information flows from method to method, right? So here it can be a value or a reference. It can be a value or a reference. On the other hand, back what exactly we do is we return. We return. So whenever you are sending the value from the calling to the caller, always make sure that you are receiving it proper in what format you are sending. That is very important. If you are sending two parameters here and you are looking for one parameter, you get a error. You get a syntax error basically. And whenever you are sending, you cannot even misplace with respect to the data type also. If you go wrong with the data type, here on the receiving end, also the same data type should be maintained. If you're not maintaining the same data type, then it's an issue that furthermore you cannot accept any of the values. I hope you people are following. Right, so that's the way of sending the values from caller function to the calling function. And the other thing is, whenever the data is flowing back towards the calling function, there are no mandatory rules that it should always return something, right? It is not mandatory, because in the previous diagram or the previous program, we didn't see anywhere, we don't have any of the return type. So what was the return type here? It was void, right? So ultimately, in the next example, I'll show you why exactly it will not be a void, it will be something else. Why? Because you're returning something and it is catching. It's actually catching the value. Here also, whenever you're catching it back, you need to have a proper variable initialized and waiting for the value to return. Once the value is returned, it comes in a form of a whatever the data type which you're specifying, it stores in the memory location. I hope I made the topic clear here. So returning a value, okay, I think I have the program ready here, which we spoke in the last class. Yeah, I don't want my area and volume to be displayed here. I just need it to be calculated and I want it to be returned back, right? So for that, what should I do? Simple thing is you return what? Return length and breadth value if he is looking for case here, and here you are getting some error value. So what is that return? What is that error? Void method cannot return a value. Why? Because it is a void here. And what type of length and breadth data types are? Data types are of double. So you should specify it as double. Automatically the error will go off. That means whenever this area has been called, it will take the value of length and breadth and it calculates length into breadth and it returns the value in the form of a double. So if it is a double over there, here whenever you're calling that area, it should be of proper value. It should be of proper value. Okay. Here I'll just deal with respect to the values here. So I just call equal box dot area. Okay. So I'll just run it. Let's see what the value will be. Let's see what the value will be. So there is no value at all inside main class now. In return object now, volume of a given object is 1500. This is working perfectly fine. This is working perfectly fine. And even here also, I give it as return length into breadth into height. And of course, it suggests me that you cannot do that. Once I do this, once I send the value, once I send the length into breadth into height value, how am I sending it back? I am sending in the form of a double. Got it? So double value will be sent from length into breadth into height. But is there anybody who is collecting that? Is there anybody who is collecting that? And anybody printing that particular value? No, even though you wanted to print the value, right? So printing the value, I'll just do it in the same way. I'll just print it out. Once again, it takes time for me to suggest any of the values. Yeah, this type of program or coding is also fine. Okay, I can call it. I can call it. So once I call here, it is returning the value 1500. Can you see it? So unless until you get the value, you need to catch it somewhere, right? You need to print it somewhere. Or the other way is you maintain another variable and you can use that variable also. So here I'll make use of that, right? I'll delete this. So I use a sysort statement. So here I say that the area of the equal box is plus, I call it as value, and of course it suggests me what exactly is value, and here I specify that value is double. Value is double. Now the error goes off. Okay. What exactly is value? May never be initialized. That's what exactly is a value. So value is, sorry. So value is equal to equal box dot, call that area, right? So whatever that area which you have, it returns the value. It returns a value, right? So just save and run it now. Everything will be working fine. So box is 25. So what happened here? Breadth and length has been sent with respect to the value. The object was initialized, right? Length and breadth was initialized with respect to which object? With respect to equal box object. So I call the area method. So what did the area method do? The area method calculate the length and breadth and it sent back in the form of a double. It returned, right? So here this value is not at all required, right? I'm not working on anything here. All right. So do we have any issues in this particular program regarding the return of a value? Return of a value. So here what exactly is happening means whatever the volume method is actually sending, whatever the value method is sending, sorry, volume method is sending, straight away I'm displaying it. Straight away I'm displaying it. So the volume of, you can specify the volume of the rectangle is codes concatenation rectangle dot volume, right? It works as a gem, right? So the volume is 1500. I hope you people followed what exactly call by value, call by reference is something. So but here returning a value is what the topic which we are looking into. All right. So that was one beautiful example speaking on that. Next is, okay, we spoke about this. Volume is equals to mybox.volume. This is done. So executing of a value of a mybox volume is 3000 and its value then is stored in volume. So there are two important things to consider about the returning value. The returning type of some method is Boolean and it could not return a value. Yes, of course, there are few cases also. The type of data returned by method must be compatible with the return type. I'll show you a small example here. I have created a variable as float. Automatically I'll be getting few errors somewhere wherever I use this particular value. Okay, value is here. Now it is giving me an error. Okay, what is that error? Type mismatch, cannot convert from double to float. What exactly is that? That is something called as compatible with respect to return type. If you are using a Boolean and you cannot return an integer. Quite clear, everybody? Are you following me?
Yes, sir.
All right. So any issues in this? Whatever the topic which we are talking, because yeah, this is the right time to ask. Whenever you see the program or any of the application, you may find it difficult to understand at this point. So go through the flow here, right? I'm following through the programming part as well as with the explanation part. So I think it is feasible for you for your understanding too. Next is, this is the first point. The second thing is the variable receiving the value written by a method, such as a volume in this case, must also be compatible with the return type specified by the method, of course. Right? So we need the same values and same number of values should be caught it, right? The other one with the demo which I showed was this one. Volume is straight away you can get the value. Instead of storing it in one value, like the way which we did here, you can also go with mybox.volume or whatever the object.volume, which you can do, which actually I did it over here, So many types, what I'm doing is I'm just ignoring few steps here, right? Straight away, as we also saw that array can be initialized in many forms, right? Array can be created, array can be initialized in many forms. So next one is adding a method that takes a parameter. This is wonderful topic once again. So here, taking parameters refers to I'm sending some value from one function to another function. From one function to another function. So how exactly that could be, right? So I'll go with the same program, or you want me a fresh program to be written? Okay, for our for ignoring our problems here. So let's not deal with respect to a rectangle object. If you want, we can always get it back. So what I'll do is I'll comment it. All right, because I may need it later also. So in the object rectangle, no, I don't want this also. So here, what I do is these values I won't give it here. These values I won't give it here. I'll assign the values at this particular place. Okay. So I have some method, some class. Class is having some, let's go with area alone, because let's not make our code here more complicated, because this is just for understanding purpose. Yeah. Okay. I think it was better to go with the new program itself. I think that would be better. So here, we'll go with the new program. Don't worry. New class. And is there anybody who are not trying out the programs at home? Kindly install Eclipse and try it out. And also see to that the programming stuff we will learn only if you are working thoroughly. Okay, so let's go with cal area. So this cal area will give me the case here. Okay, calculator area, this is my main class. Okay, So I need a main method here. So main method, okay. Before that, I'll just create another class, which I call it as area, which I call it as area. Yeah. Always remember, class will not have a double quotes. Okay. Yeah. So this is a class now. Class area has been defined. Now, I want this particular class to be called. I initialize these values. Which are the values? So the first one is uh, length, double length, and the other one is double uh, breadth. Okay. Double length and okay. So breadth is also taken. So in what exactly I want to do is I want my values from main program to be sent towards this particular object. I don't want to save the value straight away, right? Because that's not one feasible way. That's not one feasible way of using it. So breadth and yeah. So I'll create an object of this area. So let's call it as the object A1. Okay. So area 1. Let's call it as area 1 because I'm trying to calculating two more things. So here I want my length and breadth value to be initialized by some of I want it by using some variable, I mean some function here. So how do I do that? Okay. I can do that by calling the object dot breadth, or I can use it by area 1 dot length. I can use it both values, right? So here if I initialize it as 10 and here if I initialize it as 20, that will be perfectly fine. Okay. And okay, it's giving me some error here. Area 1 may not have been initialized. The local oh, area area double length, double breadth. Okay, fine. So anyhow, so I can send it in this way also, but I don't want to send it in that way. I'll call some method over here and I'll make use of that value, right? So here get value, let's call it as a get value method, and get value method is actually waiting for two values. So double and yeah, it's actually waiting for some value here. So this double can be the value which this guy is sending. So area 1 dot get value, area 1 dot get value. Okay, here let's call it as value 1, and here let's call it as value 2. Let's call it as value 1 and value 2. So area and it will also say that what are these values also. So we also need to specify that double, which is of value 1 as well as value 2. Okay. Okay, here it is specifying that return type is missing. For now, what I'll say is void. Okay, so area 1 dot, it should specify that which value I need to get it now, right? So get value. So it is actually looking for two values. So which are those two values? I can say I can send the value 10 here, and for the other one I can send as 20. I can send as 120, I mean 10 or 20. Where is this area may not have been initialized? Okay, fine. Yeah, so area 1 dot get value 10 comma 20 is what the value which I need to send it back. Before that, it is giving me some error. So what is that error which it is specifying? It's not been initialized. That means you have not created or given any memory for it. So memory for it. So now I think the error will not be there. Why? Because I just initialized. I just created, but I didn't initialize with the new keyword. So that was an error. So area 1 dot get value will be these 10 and 10 value, this 10 and 20 value will go to get value of this and to value 1 and to value 2. So inside here, it's always a good choice that value 1 will be equal to, or sorry, it should be the other way around. So length will be equal to value 1. Okay. So next is breadth is equals to value 2. Okay. So this 10 will be 10 and 20 value will be sent to this particular get val of value 1 and value 2. So 10 will be residing in, always remember, first parameter with first parameter here, the second parameter with the second parameter. Okay, if you are sending third parameter also, it will give you error. Why? Because too many values are there, right? In the area type, it is not applicable with 333 value, right? So you cannot do that. The other way is also true. The other way is also true, right? If I have 3 values to be taken care of, if I have 3 values to be taken care of, anyhow, even though I create a value of 3 here, right, it will give me error. You are sending only 2 values, but it is requiring for 3 values. So you can see the method get value double in the type area is not applicable for the arguments which is int comma int. That means I have only 2 things. I have only 2 things. For making our concept simple here, because it is showing you int. Now I think now we can see, right, double and double. The method get value double is a type area, is not applicable for the arguments double comma double. All right, why? Because you are sending only 2, but here you are requesting for 3. All right, so that's one sort of compatible issue. I think made the concept clear here. Okay, once you send the value, okay, it has to calculate, right? So there should also be some other program which will send the value, so which I call the method as send value, right? So what does this send value do? Send value will send the value. In other words, it returns length into breadth, length into breadth. So it returning value should also be matched, always see to that, double. So once it is returning, so I can catch it here, or the other way around is I can straight away print it, right? So how will I print it, right? The area of the given polygon or anything, or any given shape, whatever you can say, polygon is, what is that? What will be my value now? Can anybody let me know here? What is that I need to call now?
Send
Any? Yeah.
send
Send value. Only send value. Only send value will be doing the job. It's not suggesting me send value. Anybody can correct this here?
send value with parenthesis.
Okay, send value with parenthesis. I did it, but still it is giving me error.
Parenthesis, sir. It should be area, sir, inside parenthesis.
Inside the parenthesis, there should be area, like this one. It is still giving me an error. How do you call any instance variable and any instance function? Class 101. How can you access the variable and functions? Through
Dot operator.
Through object. I understand. Okay. Dot operator is perfectly fine, but there should be an object, right? So what was the object? Area 1, I guess.
Area
Right?
1 dot send values.
Exactly. Right. So send value I have called, and is it giving me any value? Of course, it is giving an error that I should not send any parameter, because as I'm not sending any parameter, I'm not receiving any parameter. You cannot send any parameter. Okay. So let's run this program. Okay, running this program will give me the value of 200. So what exactly is happening? If you want to know, execution always starts from main. I have created an object area1 of class area. I have initialized and declared it. I am sending a value 10 and 20. Why? Because having this object information within the main class, it is not good for a programmer because of the security issues. You just need to call the object function, send the value which you want to send. I have sent 10 and 20, which goes and resides in which function. It goes to that particular object and it searches for this function get value. Okay, is there a get value? Yes. 10 and 20 are the parameters which it is sending. It resides on value 1 and it resides on value 2. In turn, this get value will do the job of assigning those 10 and 20 value to those length and breadth, and in turn this object's value of length and breadth will be initialized. Once it is initialized, I want the area which has to be printed. That means I'm manipulating few things inside this particular object. In other words, I'm calculating the area length into breadth. I'm calculating the value which is of this particular object, and I'm sending it only with respect to the value. So as a double, and it will be returned here. The other way which I can also do this is, so calling it separately. In other words, I'll cut this, I'll paste it here, I'll assign some value which can be of double val equal to, followed by a semicolon here, and here it will be a val. This is also perfectly fine. This is another alternative method which you can use. I guess we don't have any issues with the class. Do we have any issues today, class? Do we have any issues with the topic which we looked into? So adding a method that takes parameter, I think you have understood it. Here the example speaks with respect to square or whatever the value is, but I think, yeah, we took our own example here. We saw it, how exactly it works. All right. So I think in our next class, we'll be discussing about the constructors.